Hello, my friends. Jacob is here one more time for yet another incredibly, unexplainable and miraculous show. I am fresh off the heels of an interview that I just did for a new movie that's coming out. On the Mandela Effect. Yeah, that's right. The old Jacob, he met with the director and the team yesterday, and I'm exhausted because they interviewed me for it was like a gabillion hours. But I'm excited because, back in the day when I started talking about this stuff, I had a feeling one day this would be mainstream, so I'm going to hope that this movie goes mainstream. I hope that all of you have hit the like button by now, that you're subscribed to the channel. It's so super helpful, and I really do work hard for all of you. And as you're going to see, I have a history. I have a history of saying things, like looking at the world, because I'm a writer. If you're new to the channel, my name's Jacob Israel. Welcome to Jacob's Ladder. I kind of take the things in the world, the news and the stories and all that stuff, and I kind of just find a spiritual meaning to it. I like to extrapolate a deeper message and then reveal it to all of you. The message that I have for you today is about the power of our words. Words! It's like a sword. If you take the S off of the end and you put it in front, it's a sword. Our tongue, it has the power of life and death. A lot of people don't know this. So we ignorantly create curses over ourselves. Oh, it's about time to stop. Because what I've been doing on the channel for a long time is I've been having faith, and I've been trying to speak out in faith about things. I came up with a hashtag, if they be corrupt. And it seems like today, there's a possibility that some corruption may be going down. It's like the Red Sea is being parted before us, like that weather event that went down just in Russia there, where they had that just really abnormal looking cloud that looked like Moses parting the Red Sea, someone said, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Not as interesting, though, as the Euphrates River, which we know is a symbol for the end of a bad age. Let's not get too paranoid about things. The end of a dark time and the beginning of a better time. Hopefully, the reign of Christ, which is to come. The Omega sign was in the it was right there. The Omega sign right there. They saw it from a satellite picture, and I tweeted it out, and I was like, oh my God! Like Omega. That means the end. That's the end. Omega. We had the weather. We had the weather block, the Omega weather block. We've been talking about Omega on the channel, and then here it is. Because I think 2024 is going to be the Omega. I think it's going to be like the end of the old system and the beginning of the new. Now, I think for the people that are doing good, for the people that repent, for people that are kind-hearted and love, I think it's going to be a good thing. For the people that aren't, for the people that are corrupt and wicked and horrible, I think your day is going to be, it's not going to be so good. I think it's time to return to God and repent of all these silly things that you're doing. And I'll tell you some of the silly things that going on. You know who's just stepped down? Speaking of people that I think were horrible people, the head of the CDC. This lady right here. Yeah. A while ago, I did a video because, do you remember when the virus of the crown first came out? And they started talking about this is going to be the demic of the unvaxxed, right? Inated. That was their thing, their big slogan. They were shouting it from the rooftops, and I got upset. Because I knew what they were doing, and there was psychology stuff going on there. It was manipulation, and it was trying to get people to blame people that didn't do what they told them to do. And now, it's like the people that did are pretty upset that they did it. And people that didn't, they're pretty much feeling pretty good about themselves right about now. I'll tell you who's not feeling so good is probably the head of the CDC, Walensky. Oh yeah, so I did this video, okay? I did this video right here, spooky one. And there was in the video, I discussed that there was this fragment that was discovered that really kind of had a lot to do with Gideon. And I was talking about how the day is coming when a small group of people would stand up and they would be bold and they would be strong and they would speak life into the world and God would use them. So in that video, I said, if they be corrupt, they're going to be stepping it down. And guess what happened, right? On the eclipse, remember we talked about that eclipse? Well, she resigned. Now here's what's weird, is if you take a look at that thumbnail from that video I did in 2021, it says, "Look to the moon." I remember putting that on there. I don't even know why I put it on there. I just felt like, hey, I think an eclipse has something to do with this, even though at the time there was no eclipse going down at that time. But I'm telling you, it turns out that the eclipse went down and Walensky has stepped down. It's not the only one. We got another guy, right? The old Ouchie, right? His name means maker of sickles. Sickle, you think of the guy that went to the coronation. The Grim Reaper. You think of the sickle. That guy, Ouchie, he's another one. They're all stepping down. Why is this? Well, because they probably did some naughty stuff and they're going to probably get in trouble for it, just like I said in the video. I told everybody to hold on. At that moment in time, it was very scary, but I said it's going to be very different. Just hang in there. And we hung in there, and now look at us, right? Now look at us. It looks like the tides are returning. I said in that video it was time to throw it down. It was time to stop worrying about things and just step out in faith. And we've been doing that. Just like I did, long before the election took place, the one that's in question all the time. Right now, we know that the Durham investigation, it came out. And even CNN is, they're not saying, oh, we're sorry that we promoted such, but they're saying that it was pretty terrible what the FBI did. Pretty terrible that what they did. Seems like there's going to be some hell to pay for them and for others. Really not so great, but I said it was coming. I told everybody it was coming. Told everybody before the election. I said, oh, I think Trump's going to lose, and I think it's going to look like it's pretty bad. And even on the day of the election, I tweeted this out right here, where I was saying this would be the worst case scenario, that he loses by a small margin, he cries foul, and this thing drags on. And that's exactly what happened. But I always felt like he was going to come back strong. He was going to be the next one. I also kind of felt like the whole thing with us biding our time, that was going to be revealed, that he was going to be revealed to be corrupt. But I don't know many people that came on here during the height of Trumpism, right? Where everybody was showing up to the events and it was just like a massive sea of people and everything was supposedly doing great in the country and they thought they were going to win with a landslide because they kept showing Biden with all of his little events. There was like nobody showing up and everybody's like, how could he possibly win? And I said, well, they're showing you this so that when the magic business goes down, you're going to be upset. You're going to be outraged. So you may end up doing something silly. Like I warned people about, the 6th as well of January. I said, don't go. I told everybody. I said it was going to be an explosive event. But hey, who listens to me, right? Maybe some of you did, hopefully. But I do this video because I had this dream. This one right here, take a look. This is from before the election now, mind you. So I have a dream. It's a very strange dream. I don't pay much attention to it. In the dream, and there was a couple of them, but this one was the one that stood out the most. In the dream, I, for some reason, was like with one arm was carrying like the casket of our president. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was open. But on the left-hand side of me, there was our president. So it was very strange. There was like, it was one in the casket with the casket wide open. There was also, I remember there being like, I noticed there was moss on the bottom of the casket, moss that was growing there. But in the dream, the president was smiling, he was laughing, he was having a great old time, and here I am carrying this, and I didn't understand. I'm like, oh, and then I woke up and I'm like, oh, I get it. It's gonna be like a fake thing. And that video, this video right here, God has spoken again. A corrupt ruler will be replaced once again years ago, and now we hear all of this stuff about Biden and his family like never before. It's interesting because right now the IRS, they just dropped charges. There's a big whistleblower thing going down with the Bidens, and it looks like if things go in the right direction, right, that these people are going to be revealed to be pretty naughty and selling out their country, perhaps. That's what some people say. The IRS on Monday, however, though, removed the entire investigation team from its long-running tax fraud probe into Hunter Biden. You've probably seen pictures of him online, nude, weird, with, a lot of disturbing imagery and a lot of drugs. And, so you think sometimes, when I was growing up, my mother was always worried about how, me and my younger brother presented ourselves because people judge you by how your children turn out. President of the United States. A lot of issues there. A lot of issues. Like such dark stuff that I don't even want to get into it. Diaries and all sorts of things. You probably don't want to look into it either, because it'll make you think that the world is really an ugly, ugly place. But I tell you this, the ugliness is coming to an end. I tell you this, that God is going to make a quick work of this now. It's been going on a long time, but oh my God, Omega, oh my God, Omega, this is the end. So I have a lot of hope. And my instincts have been right about quite a bit of things going down. Like when Tucker was let go on Fox. He was let go by Fox at the same time Don Lemon, right? All of this stuff, so coincidental. And I tweeted out, oh, he's going to be the face of Twitter news now. And he's going to be. He's bringing the show to Twitter. Once again, it seems like the things that are being shared here turn out to be true. I don't say like I'm a prophet or anything else. I say that I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. And I also believe, get this, I believe that my words can create. I believe that my faith, if I have faith that God is going to, reward those that are good and turn the hearts of those that are corrupt and let them repent of their terrible ways. If I believe that, it'll happen in the world, because faith makes it so. The problem is the system knows how faith operates, so it does a good job of trying to get all you to think the worst. That's why when things happen to you, you say, I knew that was going to happen, because for the last 2 weeks you've been saying this is going to happen. In the interview for the Mandela Effect movie, one of the things that I talked about was just how everything's so steeped in like the occult and steeped in like predictive programming, like kind of like telling you what's going to happen before it happens. One of those magazines that we love to talk about is The Economist magazine. And when I was on a Donut Show with AMTV and Marfugel, these are all great channels, you should check them out. We pulled up The Economist magazine cover, this one from 2019, and it hit me. I thought, oh my goodness, Putin's pipelines. That was before the whole attack on Nord Stream. Isn't that interesting? But I also saw that guy right there, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, because at the same time Putin's pipelines went down, so did Rust with Alec Baldwin. And I thought, this guy looks just like Alec Baldwin. Did they put that there too? I know it was probably something else, but I'm thinking to myself, who knows? Who knows the inner workings of how these people do things? Maybe they get a kick out of this stuff, putting stuff on magazine covers before it happens. Well, I broke down the magazine cover from before the world in 2017, where they had the cards of tarot. Each of them actually spelled out the coming following year, and this year has to do with these right here, the reversal of fortune, corrupt people being brought to justice. One thing that was very interesting is that we also noticed the flags when we were talking on the show. It was what was going on in France. Very interesting. A lot of riots going on, a lot of strange stuff going on in the world, and it gives me a lot of hope. Not so much hope that I had for Twitter, but I'm still holding strong, and I'm believing there's a possibility, because I, of course, want to influence people, right? There's a possibility that everybody right now is so stressed about this Linde Yaccarino, who, by the way, is from Long Island. That's what I found out, or lives here now. I don't know. So, Strong Island's in the house, but also in the WEF's house, and I'm not too thrilled about that. She is not a great pick, and a lot of people are not happy with this at all. I, in my last video, kind of said, who knows? Maybe this is all a big troll, because, Elon was he spoke out very, very highly against these people. He spoke out about Bill Gates, and he spoke out about all of their plans. He's done this before. Who knows? Some people are thinking that he's part of the plan. I, months ago, said, is he taking over Twitter all part of the plan? So before anybody was saying that and they were all singing his praises, I was saying, take a look at this. This isn't too great because all the birds were in the cage of the Yahtzee guy. And I thought that was pretty dark. Pretty dark, and maybe a mistake. Maybe he didn't really know what he was tweeting at the time. But the question I raised was, is it going to become like an advertising thing where, he does all this stuff for free speech and then the advertisers go away and then for business reasons he has to clamp down? He knew something. Maybe he was showing the world that, the truth is going to be known. Or maybe he's really, really super smart and he knew that this would be something that would trigger advertisers to say, I'm going goodbye. And when they say they're going goodbye, then he has to, crack down on things so that the advertisers come back? Like crack down like even harder than before? I'm not saying that was like the super serious plan that he had. I don't think he had that plan. That seems to be what's happening with Yacarino. So it's almost like maybe I put it out there. But so I, in response, said, well, maybe this guy really does care about free speech. He speaks about it passionately. And people are giving him a hard time about what's happening in Turkey because that the government said to him, hey, you got to shut down. You can't give them free speech with what's going on right now. You got to shut down. We got elections going on. And he did exactly what the law said, which is what he always said he would do. He says, you give you freedom of speech, just not freedom of reach, and what's within the confines of the law of the nation that you're in. It's kind of like you're going to vote for the people in. You're not going to do anything to get them out. I got to abide by their rules. They're your leaders. Can you fault the guy for that? I mean, I can, of course, but I'm not him. I don't know what it's like to be in his position. I know that the position that he's in is incredibly influential, and it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. So the question becomes, can we together see that maybe there's some other plan going on? I know everybody wants to put their faith in some other plan that's happening. Can we believe perhaps that God has some kind of a plan waiting in the wings to really show these people just how messed up they really are? I'm gonna have hope. I'm gonna call those things that are not as if they are. That's what God does. Because I like Twitter. I like sharing on Twitter now, and I'm hoping that it's gonna be the one place where people can actually just, without being hateful and without committing crimes, can have a certain amount of freedom. And certain amount, it's gotten to that today. It's a certain amount of freedom. It's not complete freedom, but at least, they're not scared of people that are telling others to put their faith in more and understand their creative potential. That's if you got God within you. This is what Jesus said. He goes, you of little faith. If you just said to that tree, be cast into the ocean, it would listen to you. But you got no faith. This is the problem today. We put our faith in the wrong things. We think the worst, and so the worst comes. So on this channel, what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to speak God's correction. And I'm hoping that this Yacarino goes bye-bye. It's interesting. Someone sent this to me. Her last name, because the first name means snake, but her last name, a name recommendation for it is Wormwood, which I thought was interesting. But what are you going to do, right? All these things? I mean, do you think that someone like Elon could be in the Bible? Well, there is an Elon in the Bible. And you know what's weird? Elon in the Bible was a Hittite. A Hittite, okay? Coming from Hittite, they were so scary, a place of terror. Elon was also known as a judge. That in these times, a judge would be risen up in the land, and he's sort of like a judge. He's got that power where he can cut you off or he can let you flow. I'm hoping he's going to let us flow. I'm hoping he's not going to put somebody else at the helm who has a dark secret mission and that dark secret mission, I promise you, if it's going to hurt those that are doing good in the world, it's going to hurt those that are going to love, if it's going to hurt those that are serving God, I promise you, God is going to bless those that bless Israel and curse those that cursed Israel. And you and I, we're all Israelites. That's what we are. It's the name for God's children, scattered everywhere. But yeah, I did find it interesting. Do you know that in Scripture, Elon had a daughter, and this daughter married Jacob's brother Esau. The name of the daughter, which I thought was so cool, was Base Math, like base math. I just found this interesting because when I saw base math, I thought basic math, like 1 + 1 is 2, 2 × 2 is 4. You know, basic math, right? Like X and Y, 1 and 0. And I thought to myself, Elon the Hittite names his daughter Base Math. And Elon, the Twitter guy, names his children X and Y. Base Math, man! Right there in the scriptures. I don't know, it's probably a reach, but I think it's a cool reach, and I'm hoping that I can reach Elon and say to you, please, man, please, dude, you know, if these people are corrupt, if they be corrupt, let's show it to the world, huh? Let's show it to the world. A buddy of mine said on Spaces they're going to crucify her. I don't want to see anybody crucified. I want to see the truth shouted from the rooftops, and I want to see justice in the land, don't you? So let's not sell out everybody and think everybody's going to do the worst. Let's hope that somebody please, take a stand for the common man. I, for one, am going to do it. Are you? So why don't you start by hitting the like button for me, sharing this video around, making sure you're subscribed, getting yourself a God's Champion, be a champion, God's Champion t-shirt. In the description of the video is all of the merchandise. You can get all of it. This is going away. I don't know how much more. I think maybe you got like maybe a week left, if that, to get any God's Champion merchandise because I messed up when I put it in. I'll maybe bring it back a year later or something else and I'll tweak it. But this is going away. So if you want to support the channel, that's really a great way to do it financially. You can, of course, join me on Patreon, where I share thumbnails before that, you know, the videos come out. I share little thoughts and little poetry, and I answer emails to everybody who sends me them there. If you want, on Patreon, once again, in the description of the video. Hook up with me on Telegram so you can get a notice. I put a blast out so you don't have to worry about missing the show. Make sure that you tell a friend about the channel if you enjoy it. And thank you for spending a little time with me today, because the world needs some positivity, don't you think? So let's lift the world up and let's sing praises to God even in the midst of the storm, because he's going to part them just like he did those clouds in Russia. All right, I love each and every one of you. Enjoy the fan-made trailer, supposed trailer. It's kind of like me calling the movie into existence, because the novel that I wrote, The Calling, is so great. If you haven't gotten yourself a copy of The Calling, this is another way you can. I don't really make any money off of this because Amazon and the publisher, they take all the money, but I really believe that the story is so super important and it'll help a lot of people. So if you want, you can get it pretty much anywhere. I ask that if you do get it, leave me a review and let me know, because I'm almost over 1,000 reviews just on the paperback alone. The book is that good. It's going to be a movie one day. I know it. So that's why I created this concept trailer. Why? Because I'm calling those things that are not as if they are, because I know one day they will be, because God promised this to those who serve him. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
September 10th. Mars hangs closer to the Earth than it has in 6,000 years. Like the light that led men from the East to a child in a manger, it could well be a sign of good things to come. Thomas James shall be his name. The world will change because of him. In the small town of Bethel, in a time not unlike our own, a child with a great purpose is born. Years later, alienated by his peers and abused, Thomas suffers a devastating loss. When it appears he has nothing left to live for in the world, this is when his true calling begins. While trying to escape the sinister powers that be, a terrifying vision haunts him. Miraculous events seem to follow the peculiar young man as he struggles to come to terms with what he was born to do. The stage is set. The time is at hand. The truth will rise and a revolution will begin. The startling revelation of who Thomas James is, truly, will change the lives of those around him and set off a chain of events long ago foretold. There is more to this novel than one might think. Inside these pages hides a treasure just waiting to be discovered. So if you've ever wondered if there's more to life, or why it is we suffer, then this story will not only captivate you, it may just open your eyes to a truth that could set you free. Find out what is in us all that makes us heed the calling